Hey friends, welcome to Om with Orlee. You might have noticed I haven't posted content in a while, and that's because I had a heart attack. Yeah. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that today. But before we get started, please remember to subscribe to my channel. It'll really help me out a lot. Give me a thumbs up, comment below, ask any questions. I'll get back to you, and I want to hear from you. It really helps the community out by engaging. So I hope to hear from you, and thank you for listening. So yeah, I had a heart attack, and I just wanted to tell you guys about it because, well, it's a really big deal, and I've been connecting with you guys for a while now, and I haven't been on the scene or been engaging, so I just wanted to explain why that is and actually how transforming it was to go through this. So here we go. Let's see, almost 3 months ago, I was woken up in the middle of the night by this pain. And as you know, because I teach you mindfulness meditation, I practice noticing my sensations a lot. In fact, I practice it so much that throughout the day, I will notice my sensations even without trying, even without practicing on purpose. I will just spontaneously notice my feet touching the ground and how those sensations change. If I get any like stomach aches, or when I'm working out, I really love to feel the sensations of my muscles working. And with all that said, with this practice, you really notice sensation changing. But on this night, I had the typical heart attack sensations of pain in the chest, pain down my arm, which is my right arm, because my heart is on the right side. Not the correct side, but on the right side as opposed to left. So pain down my right arm and pain in my jaw. The interesting thing that made me really concerned was that the sensation didn't change. It was literally this pain that stayed, didn't move, didn't get worse or get better or throb or get, change qualities. It just was and didn't change. So I tried to change positions because it was 3 o'clock in the morning. I was still sleeping, or I was trying to at least, and nothing worked. And there was part of me that was like, is this real? Let me Google, just to make sure, what are the symptoms of heart attack? And of course, I've been told before by my doctors, we're not sure if you have a heart attack, if it'll go down your right arm or your left arm. So just watch out for that. Well, now we know it goes down my right arm. And so I was just like, why is this happening? Because I lead a healthy lifestyle. I lead a mentally healthy lifestyle and a physically healthy lifestyle. I work out, I eat right, I meditate. What's wrong, right? And then I finally decided about an hour later that it's time to go to the hospital, just to make sure everything's okay. I'm sure there's nothing going wrong. And so all these parts coming in, right? Arguing with each other, like, I'm sure nothing's going on. I'm sure you're just making it up. And then another part of me like, why is this happening? You've led such a healthy lifestyle. Another part saying, you could have made better choices because here's where you go wrong, and here's where you go wrong, and there's where you go wrong, right? And then, oh my gosh, if I am having a heart attack, what does this mean? Am I going to die? Or I'm going to have to be in the hospital for a while, and that's going to really interrupt my flow of things going on, like all the kids courses that I was teaching and and adult courses on mindfulness, and just getting into coaching people with the approach of internal family systems therapy. So man, I mean, work is so important to me. So really blocking that, I wasn't looking forward to. But so I get into my car. Yes, I know I should not have gotten into my car, but I thought about it. There were also the parts of like, oh, I don't want to wake anybody up, and I don't want to call the ambulance because that costs a lot of money. And, I just don't want to bother anyone because I'm probably making it up anyway. So I decided to drive myself to the hospital. But I still knew, there was still a part of me that knew that I wasn't making it up, because that part took off all of my jewelry because she knew I was going to be in the hospital for a while. Gave my dog a big kiss and said goodbye for a while, knowing that I have the best neighbors, best friends that I could text and they'll come and grab him and take care of him for a few days. So go to the hospital, and I even said to them, I'm having some chest pains, but I'm sure it's nothing, but just in case, I'm here. And they're like, okay, got my EKG, did some other tests. They came in and they said, yeah, you're having a heart attack. Wow. All that reality just set in. And again, all these different parts working simultaneously, right? It wasn't just that reality setting in and like, oh, God, I'm having a heart attack, like terrifying, right? There was still that worker part of me that was like, answer to the doctor. So should I cancel my client that I have to be at in 2 hours? And they were like, yeah, you got to cancel over the next few days. And then I said, is my car okay in the lot for a few days? And they're like, you drove here? Oops. So let me just say, since this is a public video, if you ever feel like you're having chest pains and you need to get to the hospital, call somebody or call an ambulance. Do not drive yourself to the hospital. I was very lucky to get there safe and alive, and I do not recommend doing that. So yeah, I had to cancel my next few days. Reality was setting in, and it really set in when I called my dad and I said, I'm having a heart attack. Then I just burst out crying because it's scary. I mean, people die from heart attacks. And then there's the parts again that come in like, you've done so many bad things to create this, to put this experience upon yourself. So there was lots of shaming and blaming parts coming in, but then also parts that were really scared and terrified, all very normal, right? And I was really noticing all of those parts coming in to protect me from feeling the terrifying feelings of right now. And to titrate from those overwhelming feelings and parts overwhelming my system, I would pause and notice the bed underneath me, right? I've taught you guys many times these grounding methods to take yourselves away from overwhelming situations just for a little bit of space in this moment. And that's what it provided me. Now, I've always imagined that my practice is strong. So anything dire like that, I got it. I'll stay grounded. No. It was terrifying. But there were moments, right? Just little moments of like, oh, okay, the bed is below me. I'm basically okay. And then the next moment, right? And then maybe a few moments later, noticing the bed again. It really came in and saved me, I feel like, from, because anxiety can cause heart attacks. Stress can cause heart attacks. And it could have made it so much worse if I didn't have this practice to fall back on. and to notice the different parts of myself coming into play, and to take moments. Not only did I have moments of noticing the bed underneath me, but moments of compassion for myself. Like, yeah, this is scary. Yeah, this is painful, you know? And everything about it, the work stopping, the fact that this might all end soon, and then being dependent on others is a big one for me as well. Then taking moments to notice all the support around me. I mean, the doctors at Kaiser I was at, really, really supportive and nice, and kept explaining things. So, okay, that's the emergency room. And they eventually transferred me up into the hospital, where they kept monitoring me. They brought down, like in the emergency room, they brought down my heart rate and pain medication. Now that was, I don't think it was the pain medication, but whatever, I think it was to bring down the heart rate. They had to like jab me in my belly, which I already have a lot going on in my belly. So that was so painful. And I still have some pain around that when I do core exercises. They bring down my heart rate. They had to keep bringing it down. And, you know, that actually, to my point earlier about anxiety, I am just a highly anxious person, right? And that's something I've had to stop arguing with reality about. Like, even though I'm a meditation teacher, even though I am a coach and I do all this mental work, you know, some people even ask me like, gosh, you do all of this work, you would think that this wouldn't happen to you, or that you would have a handle on your anxiety. But the thing is that I'm human, and for whatever reason I have anxiety, it's there. And so to have those parts of myself that might be mimicking outside people, to say that, well, you have this practice and you should have it more handled, that comes in. But I finally did grapple with that and face reality, stop arguing with reality, that even though I'm a meditation teacher, I can still be human. And I have anxiety. I happen to be more of an anxious person, which goes back to another earlier on thing that I'll explain to you in the next video. Back to the heart attack itself, this navigating through this fearful experience, you know, they got my heart rate to come down, they got the pain levels down, and the heart attack released. Now it's about monitoring me and figuring out, why did that happen? Is there a blockage? So transfer up to the hospital, get me ready for an angiogram, which is where they go through the artery in your leg and your groin all the way up into your heart. And then if they have to put a stent in, they will, to clear any blockages. So that happened 1 or 2 days later. And this is where I really started to learn how to grapple with my anxiety and face the reality of it. You know, I've always known that it was there, but I've always tried to fight it because I shouldn't have anxiety since I am a meditation teacher, right? And to sort of quiet myself, you know, make myself small for being who I am. And, you know, every little thing that they would come in, and I've had many hospital visits throughout my life. Like I said, I have stomach issues and I've had like joints repaired. So every little thing that they would come in with for medicine or for some injection, it would be scary. And I would say, well, what is this? And, you know, what is it going to do? And so I really started to notice that this anxiety comes in quite a bit. And then came time for the angiogram, which they had to transport me to another hospital and then get me all ready there and in an ambulance. And so the setting really provided quite an environment for my anxiety. And they assured me that I will get an anxiety medication before the procedure because they can't put me to sleep for it. I really begged for them to put me to sleep for it, but they wouldn't. So this anxiety medication, I kept throughout the transportation in the ambulance. I kept saying, okay, you are going to give it to me, right? And they're watching my heart rate and they're just like, oh, your heart rate's getting like up high. I'm like, yeah, because I'm about to have a procedure. I told you I have like low tolerance, and lots of doctors always tell me like, you're fine. You have all these tattoos. You'll be fine. I'm like, don't let the tattoos fool you. I'm really not fine. I have such a low tolerance for pain. I fear pain so much. And that's because I've gone through pain so many times in my life through procedures and mishaps in my system. So we get to the other hospital and they give me the anxiety medication, which did not work. I was still so anxious. And we get into the operating room, and to be honest, I don't really remember its beginnings, but they didn't find a blockage. They went through, they even looked at my lungs because through x-rays, they noticed like, oh, you got a funny organization of organs within you. I'm like, well, yeah, I was born with my heart on the right side, one lung smaller than the other, and my digestive system is all scrambled. I said, well, okay, let's look at your lungs because the doctor feels like, we need to see what's in there as well. And they said that they would put me in this like twilight type of, not put me to sleep, but like me in and out. Well, I was like really not in and out. I was totally there for everything. It felt so weird. You could feel this little like hook going into your heart. And, they're like, you're not supposed to feel that. I'm like, well, I freaking feel it. It's like wiggling around. They couldn't give me like pain medication or anything like that for it. That happened and didn't find any blockages. And they figured out, well, this occurred not because there were any blockages or you haven't been taking care of yourself, but because of the way you were born. So my heart works extra hard. My lungs work extra hard. Well, my one lung. And so any sort of stress can cause it to work even harder, right? Of course, I've been stressed in my life before, but there were some outside factors that brought in a pretty large sense of anxiety over the prior few weeks that then led to what they call a vasospasm. So a blockage is what usually causes a heart attack. And the heart attack is an attack on the heart, right? But without the blockage, and there's still just a heart attack, was because of a vein or artery on top of my heart spasmed and caused the heart attack. And once that released, then we're okay. Unfortunately, because they weren't watching my heart in those moments of the heart attack, they can't say for sure that it was a vasospasm or for sure whether it's going to happen again or not. But most likely not. And I've learned a lot through this experience. I've learned a lot more about the agency that I have to make choices through physical action, but also mental action, really facing the reality that I have more anxiety than the normal person, and that I don't have to let it take over my life, but I also don't have to run away from it, and I can work with it as I do with all of these other parts in my system. So just accepting that I'm a human being, I don't have to be this Zen person that sits at the top of the cliff all quiet and peaceful. I can be loud. I can be scared. And I mean, it's a scary moment. Anyone would be scared, right? But I have permission to be me and still be a meditation teacher. In fact, if you had a meditation teacher that only knew that experience of sitting at the top of a cliff all peaceful and quiet and had their life all together, they would probably not be the greatest meditation teacher for you, because they don't know what real life difficulty feels like. We as meditation teachers teach from our own experience and our own difficulties and overcoming those. So I finally came to that, like, yeah, that's okay that you have this mental difficulty. As well as making some conscious physical life choices. With the doctor's recommendation, I got off of caffeine. Another PSA for you, besides not driving to the hospital, is caffeine really does cause anxiety. I had no idea. I have been drinking caffeine since I was 12 years old. And I know that's young. But I always thought, it doesn't affect me. Like, I can go to sleep a few hours later after having a cup of coffee. But I didn't realize that while I could maybe go to sleep after having coffee, I didn't realize it was sending my nerves into this like electrified state that I didn't know what calm felt like. So getting off of caffeine, I still drink decaf coffee because I love the ritual, but I have never experienced this little amount of anxiety ever in my life. I'm sure there will be moments of higher anxiety, but I will tell you it's really, really helped. I used to take like pre-workout powders and after workout powders, not after workout powders, but during workout powders, which also have caffeine. So really getting off of like these fake supplement stuff that your body doesn't naturally know. Yeah, that's kind of it. Really being gentle with myself and taking time to rest and recover. Really allowing myself to recover. That was a tough one, to not get back into work right away. I even tried it. My body was like, no, thank you. And so that was another tough one to grapple with that I'll go into in another video. In the next video, I'll tell you a little bit more about how all of this connects to mindfulness and my practice and our practice in general, this journey that we might have some misconceived ideas about. And that's my story. I'm great now, just so you guys know. I'm doing really well. I'm back to working out at full capacity without any of those supplements, and it feels great. I just finished off some tests that were going to tell us if I needed open heart surgery to repair the piping of my lungs to my heart, because that's basically, it doesn't really have much to do with the heart attack, but that is how I was born. The piping of my lungs and my heart do not connect correctly. And so there's a mixture of blue blood and red blood, and causes my heart and one lung to work extra hard. So with that, they wanted to do some tests and see if I'm getting enough oxygen. And if I wasn't, I would have to have open heart surgery. If not, or a CT scan to see if they would have to go back in through an angiogram to repair one of the pipes in my lungs. They would generally want to go back and repair that pipe, but because I perform so well on my stress tests and have 100% oxygen and I work out like crazy all my life, they actually said, well, what are we fixing? What are we making better, right? So really, really grateful for my agency to choose to work out, to take action on my condition, to create a healthy lifestyle for myself and therefore make this outcome of not having to have open heart surgery or this repair that most people would need. And in fact, not to bloat, but just for a moment, I am at the 99th percentile performance of normal people, people who are not born this way. So pretty good. I'm doing well. So thank you so much for listening. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It'll really help. And I'll go deeper into it because this was a big event and it's caused a lot of realizations. So I didn't want to overwhelm you guys with all of it in one video. Next time I'll get into it with how it connects to the journey and this practice. And in another video, I'll talk about something that's really difficult for me, how I was able to decrease my work and really take in life a little bit more while working than before. All right, thanks so much, you guys. Have a good rest of your day, and I can't wait to see you next time.